Hey everyone, welcome to 2 Minutes at 2. I'm Jerry at United Church. Hey, when I think about this time of coronavirus, I think about suffering. I know some of our introverted friends are like, yay, this is great. It's vacation from home. They're getting paid and now life is great for them. But I think for a lot of us, we look at this time of the coronavirus as suffering. And I want to ask you a question. How do you receive suffering in your life? I know for me, there's 3 different things that I tend to do when I'm engaged in suffering. Number 1, I try to complain to God and ask Him, why are you doing this to me? If you look at the book of Job, Job spends 36 chapters asking God, why did you do this to me? And God spends 5 chapters responding to him, who are you again? And so we don't want to just sit there and ask God over and over again, why are you doing this to me? I think the second way we can respond to suffering is we try to run the clock out. I know in the beginning of all this, I kept saying to myself, it's just a week, it's just 2 weeks. And now I'm thinking, what am I going to do if it's actually longer than this? I think the third way that we can respond to suffering is to run around our problems. If you look at the Bible, it's filled with examples of people, when confronted with suffering, went around God's will to try to accomplish something on their own. If you look at Abraham and Sarah, they waited 11 years for the promised heir, and then they just gave up and took things in their own hands, and that did not turn out so well. And finally, I think, what is it that we're supposed to do? I think we're supposed to ask this question, what? God, what is it that you're doing in my life? What is it you're trying to accomplish? I know for me personally, I feel like Jesus is saying, Jerry, are you willing to follow me no matter what happens with this coronavirus, even if there's no end in sight? And I'm being challenged by that. You know, all of us can still do amazing ministry during this time. We can call people. We can Zoom call people. We can go out and walk around and meet people and get their names and ask them how they're doing and develop relationships with people that we've never developed relationships with before. So let's be active instead of being passive during this time. And lastly, I thought about this. The other day I was going out and I was crying out to God about all this, and He reminded me in John 14:2 that I have a place prepared for you, and that there's going to be a place where we have a relationship with God, where there's no suffering, there's no viruses, there's no relational problems, all that, where this is just eternal bliss. And I was comforted by these thoughts, and then I was reminded about this. How are our friends and our family and our neighbors who don't know Jesus, how are they comforting themselves during this time if they don't know Jesus? And that's where you and I can come in and bring the love of Jesus Christ to people so they can find their true hope in Him and Him alone. Have a great day.